Hello, everyone. Great to have you all on board with us at TechSparks 2021. Our topic on the panel for this session today is digital transformation and the changing role of the CTO. Now, to just set the context, there has, of course, been a consensus all around that in the last year, we've lived through at least 10 years, especially when it comes to the business side of things. Now, in 2021, the CTO does not necessarily stand just for Chief Technology Officer. Rather, it stands for Chief Transformation Officer. That's because they've proved themselves as the real vanguards of digitization when it comes to businesses. Gone are the days when the role of a CTO was limited to keeping an eye on the latest IT trends and developments, picking solutions that could simplify processes and improving the company's products, or simply hiring a tech team that could only serve as a support or the backbone of a business function. CTOs today, in fact, play a much more critical role in the development and direction of the business than ever before, especially as digitization becomes an integral part of a company's business agenda. So with that said, here to explore how the role of a CTO has evolved over the last year, we have with us a great panel as well as subject matter experts joining us on the panel today. Let me quickly introduce them to you. We have with us Manish Bhatia, who is the president of Lending Cards Technology, Analytics and Capabilities team. Hi, Manish. Next, we have with us Anshu Prateek, head of engineering, SRE and databases at Grab, which essentially also provides everyday services like deliveries, mobility, as well as financial services. And finally, I'm also pleased to welcome Rupa Kumar, COO and co-founder of Purple Quarter, a company that helps tech and product companies hire their tech leaders. Right, now let me get straight to it. And Rupa, I'd like to begin with you, because at the outset, like we've been speaking, the role of the CTO has really evolved over the last decade, especially from being people who were consulted when the company really needed some tech band-aid, so to speak, to make a process more efficient, to now almost defining the direction the company takes. So how do you think the role of the CTO has changed and how important has it become today?
Well, if you look at the companies around us, everyone's actually looking at digitizing themselves. Everyone's moving from the offline world to the new world of technology. So keeping that in mind, or even let's just take a look around us and see how much of technology touches our lives. Right from the time you get up in the morning till the time you switch off your phones, you're actually practically on technology. And with COVID setting in, I think we all lived on technology. We're in fact doing this Your Story panel through technology, right? So it's touching our lives magnanimously. And the role of CTO obviously has taken a huge amount of change because of this fact that it's touching everyone's lives. So customers' preferences have changed over a period of time. And that brings technology closer to what a business or a product mindset looks at, right? So technology is extremely important in today's date and time, and that's how CTO's role has changed. And they've become more into terms of not just being a backbone, but also being the face for the company. So, I would laugh about this like 5 years ago, and Manish, I'm sure you relate to it as well, that if we were to sit in this session, or even if Anshu will need to participate and say, think of 5 CEOs who come to your mind. Yeah. And all of us, including you, Shivani, would promptly think of 5 guys who come to our mind. Now, if I were to ask you, think of 5 CTOs who come to your mind, right? They wouldn't have come to your mind 5 years ago. But today's date, you can still think of 5 CTOs who come to your mind. Yeah. And that's been the actual shift of how you look at technologies done to the entire scope of things. It's not just with how businesses have evolved, it's also technology, the way it's evolved as well. So if you were to think of how blockchain is being put to the best of use, it's not yet. So I'm sure over the next few years, even this would evolve. What we are seeing today will also change. And that's how I see this entire thing has gone about shifting.
Right, great initial thoughts there, Rupa, and the key being that this what we've seen, the transition, and the evolution that we've seen, the rapid evolution will also continue to change going forward. And I want to get in your thoughts on this, Anshu and Manish, because, all of us, including Rupa, have witnessed the way technology has become the very fabric of the business world, right from the driving seat. And as CTOs, the two of you, especially last year, as Rupa mentioned, businesses rapidly digitizing their processes in the wake of the pandemic. So, while sometimes it does look like these digital transformations that we've seen across companies and processes were well planned and executed and timely, more importantly, at other times it does feel like they were bought, and just put into place in a case of emergency. People sort of just got whatever they could lay their hands on. What's your take on this? Do you feel like the digitization we saw last year was keeping the longer term in mind, or do you feel like it was just some sort of a stopgap to keep things going, or this is of course something that can be improved upon? Manish, maybe if you can start.
Great question to start with, right? Where if I really think about, what has changed last year, it is it's not about the technology that's really changed. It's the business. It's actually the customer behavior. And I think what is the one takeaway is most of the changes that have happened that have been sudden. I've never been in a growing company that essentially said, okay, I'm done with what I had to do and my product is perfect, right? So otherwise we would be using Windows 95 today. So if you have more customers coming in, if you have more need, your technology will evolve. And so there is no right set of things that you could deploy at one instance. But I do feel because of the pandemic, the customer behavior has fundamentally changed when it comes to technology. And I think that is what we should all think about to say, once that has happened, how do we serve our customers better? Some technologies have put things together. Some companies have put together. Some companies have had, a little bit of foresight and have been there. But at the end of the day, I think everybody is going to get there when it comes to actually serving the needs of the customer.
Sure, Manish, a great way of looking at it. It's not that the technology itself sort of became outdated and jaded, but the customer behavior and the change on that front is what led to, this faster pace of digitization and the digital transformation, so to speak. Anshu, your thoughts on this, because, you are positioned as a super app that serves customers across verticals from deliveries to mobility to what have you, financial services as well. So how are you looking at this?
I think I'll take a step back and look at tech history in general, or history across the board, right? Go back 10 years, 20 years and ask who was the richest person around. I think the name that pops up is person who led the entire tech era we are in, right? So he saw the writing on the wall much before we started thinking about it. And that has been what's been going on. Definitely, I think the last 1 year has changed things heavily across the world. Maybe earlier in the days, whatever would be new startups and pieces doing mobile first would launch, let's say, only for tier 1 cities in India. And today, any service you can think of, they are available in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. If I might put in IPv6 when it launched, and those were the days when the largest telco in India was not around, and we would struggle to see, hey, how can I get an IPv6 channel for proxying for playing around? And from that place to the place where India is the largest consumer of IPv6. I think technology is a clear front winner out there, front and center. All of it, technology by itself is definitely not the business, but I think it has come a long way from the place where it was one part of the business to the place where it definitely is a business enabler. Maybe in the past, no business, a business could not succeed purely on basis of good technology, and that might be true even today. But I think in today's world, having a successful business without good technology would be a rarity than the norm, right? And I think that has what has changed, not necessarily only over the last year, but over the last decade or so. And that's what brings the role of CTO to the front and to the center of the picture, saying, hey, the CEO can do also well. The CEO can do also well. The various CXOs can definitely bring in. But until unless you have a good CTO who knows and understands your piece, till that point of time, you will definitely make news. But how long standing is that news? I think that becomes a question. Whether you become someone who's been at the forefront of that specific business for the next 5, 10, 20 years, that definitely is going to be heavily technology driven. And that's where the CTO role comes in.
Sure, I'm sure. Definitely, fascinating to see how the role of the CTO and technology itself has become front and center of every business today and every startup that we're looking at. And Rupa, your thoughts on this front as well as, key player in this entire ecosystem, because the demand for, tech teams and a CTO is always something, that people have on the top of their list. So as a person who sort of continuously interacts with the CTOs and tech teams, what are you seeing in terms of the asks that people, or companies have of this team now?
Right. So I'll take a cue from what Manish said. It's true that technology actually hasn't really gone through that change. If you were to see, technology was put to the best of use even 10 years ago, depending on which geography we are talking about. It's a paradigm shift of how businesses are thinking to use technology. I'll agree with Anshu as well. where where technology has become more an enabler. Everyone's thinking tech first on today's date and time, not just because of COVID or if it's accelerated what technology has done to India or the rest of the world, but it's also to do with how much we're able to use technology, right, in today's date and time. So if I were to look at how the demand has changed, everybody, including a stealth mode startup, wants to look at a CTO right at the beginning of their venture. It's not like the good old days, like 5 years ago, when they would have a CDC funding and then they would want another CTO to come in. They're not looking at it at that stage, which I think is fantastic, because most promising thing a startup would need to do is to look at scale even before they get there. There's no point of getting to a point and saying that, hey, now we're going to be scaling, we're going to have so many transactions per second, and hence we need a CTO. And then you already build an infrastructure which is not capable. And then you need a new person to come in and rechange the whole org. It doesn't make any sense. But now there's been a paradigm shift of how even founders are thinking, which I think is fantastic. Because at the end of the day, if we need to evolve, if we need to be in time with, we talk so much about AI, but we all have a good laugh at it at the back end, because AI has generally not evolved to the extent as much as we want it to be evolved. But is AI already evolved in other geographies? Yes, it has, because they've already used technology to that effect. But if we were to think of it together in unison, then things would be fairly much more fast-tracked. Let us look at different geographies, right? How is technology being put to best of use with technologists thinking together? In this forum, we have people from 2 different companies, right? If we were to think of, hey, why don't we do this together, like fintech? Why don't we look at how can lending become more simpler if we were all supposed to join hands through one technology? Or a supply chain, which is the most broken issue right now in India. How do we bring this together in one platform? This could be fantastic. It's again another paradigm shift. So to respond to your question, Shivani, it's very important how each one is thinking and how we can evolve this entire piece. So that's how it has changed, and it's been quite lovely, in fact.
Definitely, Rupa, and the kind of problems and use cases that these new startups that are solely based on tech at the core are very encouraging to see the entire ecosystem being built around the tech, and how the founding team itself has a CTO right at the start, and they sort of put their tech infrastructure in place first. Now, coming to the point that Manish, you made earlier, the whole thing is now built around customer interface and the customer value proposition that you're sort of providing for them. So there's a lot of discussion around creating customer value, customer delight via technology in the form of UI, UX, CX, and all of that, giving them a 360-degree approach to serving customers right from your websites, app interfaces, social media, all of that. You have technology, end to end. So how are CTOs really approaching this, considering that this wasn't really traditionally under your ambits? What are some of the key things to remember when planning the customer journey from a tech aspect?
See, at the end of the day, I think how Rupa was saying, your businesses are tech now. Now, it is not that, you're going to run a business somewhere and, revenues are going to come from somewhere else. So it's not a support function. It is the business. Now, if it is the business, then you obviously have to understand, from a customer standpoint, what are their pain points and what are their touch points. So very similar to a very traditional business, then you get a lead that gets generated, then you have engagement of the customer, then you close the deal, and then you again have engagement of the customers that you've already served. Now, all of this is now tech enabled. And when you say when all of this from the beginning to the end, fulfillment and support later on is tech enabled, then how does a CTO actually look at all these different aspects, which is called the 360 feedback, right? When it comes to customer service, it comes to customer coming in, customer doing a checkout of whatever he's going to purchase, customer gets fulfillment, things get delivered to his platform or whatever that might be. So a CTO has to have 3 different aspects that are very, very critical. One is, understanding business as usual, what is really happening, so that he's not disconnected with what's really happening on the ground. So a ear to the ground. The second piece is, a plan around, where does he want to take the team, and so that every single decision he's making is actually in that direction. So I think these are very, very important pieces, and you cannot look at them disconnected, because every single aspect If you're not doing great customer service, customers will not come in. If you don't have a good funnel coming in, customers will not come in. So it is an end-to-end view. You cannot have disconnected siloed views.
Sure, Manish, like you said, technology is the business itself. And I'm sure, if you can come in on this, the fact that the product itself nowadays is a tech product. There has been a cultural change in recent years where there's a great emphasis now on the end product embodying the philosophy of the company. We're hearing terms such as, continuous integration, continuous delivery being rallied about as the USP of enterprise tech products, for example. So tell us some ways in which a CTO can really leverage the company's philosophy and mission to define their tech and digitization strategy.
Yep. I'm going to start off with the phrase that almost everyone in India now comes across and uses, right? KYC. And KYC, not in terms of know your customer just the way RBI mandates, but essentially take a step back. And I think the first step is to identify your customer. Who is your customer? I mean, to an end user, it might feel like, okay, if I'm using a service, I'm the customer, but that's not the whole part of it, right? Think of a food delivery company or any e-commerce company. For them, it's not only the person who's purchasing it is the customer. Each and every person in that entire supply chain is a customer to a certain extent, be it their driver partners, be it their merchant partners, be it their delivery partners, everyone involved, right? They are the customers at the same point of time. Economics 101, they are also their comm teachers. Getting this right mix where they are enabling those customers and ensuring that their comm teachers are happy and this business itself is disrupting everything around them and not necessarily in danger of being disrupted by the next specific company that comes up and says, hey, this is not working. Identifying that customer is the core of it and works across the board. Thereafter, identifying your secret sauce. What is it that you are doing that's different from across the board? Business can bring in value proposition. Business can do various things. But if you think about it, there isn't much difference in the way KYC is being done by a neobank, by a digibank versus what a KYC is done by a traditional bank, right? End of the day, they all capture the same info. How they are capturing it and how fast they are turning it around is the aspect. And that comes in heavily because of the tech aspects. And then seeing what is it that the tech is doing or that the company is doing, be it as part of the business or be it part of the tech, which may not necessarily be aligned with serving the best interest of the customer. Identifying those and ensuring that we are fixing those front up and or rather avoiding those in the first place, or if they have creeped in, then fixing those on priority. I think these would be some of the things that I would put in as what a tech team as such would be involved with. And CTO being at the helm of it will definitely be driving this conversation and ensuring that everyone across the team is thinking about it, right? If I may put in a short note on this, at my CTO level and all with the directs, we were doing this exercise of identifying who our customer is. And man, were all of us surprised as to how different we thought our customers were, right? One company, one pieces, everyone knowing exactly what we are doing and still our definition of customer being different. So ensuring that the entire team across the board, be it at tech, be it at business, be it whatsoever, everyone understands and has the same definition of customer or same view of customer, such that everyone is working towards the same goal, that definitely will be one key aspect.
A great way of, really sort of turning that whole KYC about and knowing your customer, not just for the data points and the information, but in terms of, what they value and what their philosophy is, what their needs are, and really servicing them accordingly. Now, looking at an overall, point of view when it comes to the CTO and the evolution on the economy side of things, India as an economy is now largely led by these SMEs, MSMEs, and that's a section of the business world that tech has really made a huge difference to, and that's really growing the economy. So if you could also make a case, for an MSME or a growing SMB to hire a chief technology officer, what would that be? Manish, what would you say?
So I think it also depends on the business of the SMB and MSME, right? So again, there are businesses that are tech enabled. There are small and medium businesses that are localized. So it will be a very contextual play, but I think everybody has to think about how they're going to grow their business. One of the most important pieces of growing a business is, doing more with less. Now, how do you sort of do that is, that's where your tech comes in. where tech sort of gives you the capability to scale without exponentially increasing your cost. It also sort of gives you a reach across, apart from your local reach that you have, the local context. It sort of gives you a reach about discoverability and how other people can discover you, how they can order. So the case obviously is where if you have a business that is in a space that can actually benefit from information, it can benefit from globalization, or even to an extent same state, same country. The one of the most scalable aspects of being able to grow your business is looking at it how technology can enable things for your business. So I think and once you start to think about that, that's when a chief technology officer becomes super key on understanding how do you make sure that the leads come in, how do you get them prioritized, how do you get them to checkout, how do you make sure that the deals closed, how do you actually serve the customer better, because at the end of the day, I think right now the loyalty of customers is where the maximum benefit for the customer lies. So I essentially businesses have to figure out how they get there versus being in the older scheme of things.
Right, Manish, good bits of advice over there when small companies or SMBs are initially starting out or looking at how to really go about building their tech. It essentially needs to make sense by way of allowing you to do more with less and creating efficiencies, scaling outreach, as well as make sure that you make good use of the data at the end of the day. So thanks for that. Now, Rupa, you've of course been very integral when it comes to helping startups and larger companies as well build their core tech teams at their companies, hiring CTOs, and you've been an integral part of CTO hiring conversations. So tell us what you are looking for in new hires today, what companies are looking for, and how is that different from the ask from techies maybe 2 to 3 years ago?
Well, I don't see too much of a change really in terms of how people view this, right? Because I think, even when Manish was pointing out about how do you hire a CTO for a case that you just presented to him, he spoke about first you need to understand the lay of the land. What does the business really want to do? Yeah. You need to be clear of that. So we call this the 18-month business roadmap. If one's got that figured out, and then what is your 18-month technology roadmap that we figure out along with the company, it's easy for you to plot what kind of a CTO will fit into a specific case, right? I think the only thing that probably has changed, Shivani, is people are more open, and they are in love with the idea that, hey, they could be a technology leader who comes from $1 billion startup or $1 trillion startup and come into an MNC, which is really small. Sorry, a startup which is really small. It could be a stealth mode. It could be a less than a 500 million in terms of company valuation. People are willing to take that risk. I think that's one change that we see in India. For at least for the last 5 years, I can quote that right here on the show. That's been a very good change that we see. The second piece, I think from a technologist's perspective, thanks to companies which have managed to give people the wealth creation module, right? It's just not about going and signing up for a job. This is more having a skin in the game kind of an opportunity. I think people are willing to look at not just companies as ideas, but also how is this going to go forward in the future? How is this going to scale? What's in it for them as well, right? When most people come in at a C level who look at it, not just as a 1 year, 2 year journey, they come in for a 4 to 5 year journey minimum. So it becomes very imperative for them to see if everyone's well seated in the organization. There's no point of going and joining a startup where you're looking at consolidation, or you're looking at selling this off, or you're looking at someone else coming and acquiring you. Nobody wants to go join that. They want to be a part of an ecosystem where they're able to create some form of an impact through technology. And this technology that that impacts, they would like to see it. They would like to witness it. So you see more and more people, right from, I'm talking from a supply or a demand side, moving towards India, right? They're reflecting towards the Indian ecosystem because of one primary fact, that we are able to see the kind of impact, whether be B2C or the B2B. We're seeing how it's all shifting gears, how it's all changing. Right? We're able to witness how customers are adapting to whatever technology that's being built. Now that has become the main primary focus. So that's the only change I see. If you were to ask me, have CTOs changed, has technology changed? Not so much, right? Because technology is changing. One upgrades themselves. Is the CTO upgrading themselves? Are they being agile? Are they saying, oh, relatively, I want to be in line with what's happening in today's tech stack? Do I want to be in line with that? Fantastic. But how have founders changed, right? Founders and the CEOs need to change. That we've seen a lot of change because people are more open towards accepting that technology is core. It's integral part of the company, not just a subset for what we are building. I think that's been the phenomenal change that we've managed to see. Yeah.
Great, Rupa. A fascinating point there on how, people really want to contribute towards making that change in the overall economy and ecosystem, and how a core part now is the extent of impact that individual can make by bringing in that technology or working on the core technology that will really drive the company. And you also spoke about, startups and how tech is also structured about being nimble and agile. So Anshu, if you could come in on that front, the many reasons as to why startups grow so quickly is their ability to scale and being nimble and agile as compared to, probably other legacy enterprise companies. So whether you're a CTO at a startup or a CTO at large, what are the things that you should do to remain agile and relevant today? What would you say, Anshu?
I think I'll take a step back and rather than first talking about what do we need to do to ensure that the CTOs are agile, I'll talk about the biggest pain point that the CTOs have, and not just CTOs, but everyone across the board. And that's where we need whole help from Rupa and everyone else, right? Hiring. I mean, I'm not sure if it is the topmost pain point or a level above topmost pain point, if something would be higher than P0, that's the kind of pain point that's there across the board. So when hiring is a problem, how do we ensure that we keep growing despite all of the hiring pain points? The growth of tech, the boom in tech has brought this problem statement. It's kind of a weird state to be in. Right now we have extreme shortage of good people to hire simply because everyone is doing so much purely in tech and everyone wants to have a great engineer. How do we get to that place? I think for the CTO, definitely keeping an eye around on what's happening is one aspect of it, but also kind of keeping an eye around on what's next, rather than not to solve the problems of today, but rather to solve the requirements of tomorrow, right? That's one aspect. Building up that bench for himself or herself, right, to ensure that any person, and even if it be the CTO, how are they working towards reducing that burst factor of one? Each and every person, even if we the co-founder or the founders, they are going to move away from that role at one point of time or other. How do they ensure a good person, a good tech person, or a good CTO, or any good person in that role is by definition would be a person, in my definition would be a person who can take leave for a month, can happily go off and chill in their good place. And when they come back, the place is not on fire, right? If they are able to get to that place, I think they have built a good bench. Getting to that place is definitely an extremely challenging position, but doing that is one of the topmost requirements. Other than this, there is no hard and fast rule to say this is what a CTO should do. It's partly going along with the flow and partly also knowing when to say this may sound like the right thing to do right now, but it's a very short-term approach and we need to look at a long-term solution, right? That may take time and the team may need to reprioritize. And many a times in across board, doesn't matter what kind of business the company is in, business trumps product trumps engineering across the board. CTO as a leader, they have to step up and say, hey, yes, they have to make that judgment call. They have to make that balancing call to ensure how the business, the product, and the engineering, everyone is working hand in hand together, is walking in strides together, to fulfill the requirements and of the customer, be it internal or external. That would be one core aspect. Everything else, we can always get the right set of people, no matter how challenging would it be for the right set of tech. But until unless we have the essence right, the requirement right, and we know exactly what do we want to do, what do we want to cook, it's going to be a tough sell. So identifying those requirements and setting the guidance for the teams, I think that will be the topmost requirement that I'm going to put in.
Sure, Anshu, great points that you raised there, and very candidly put, the fact that it is very challenging at the end of the day, because there's a lot of pressure as well, with the demand for all this technology. Manish, how are you looking at it? Are you feeling the pressure when it comes to hiring tech teams and sort of now being spearheading the entire product end of things and the customer end of things? All of that eventually falls on the CTO's lap as well.
Yeah, I see. At the end of the day, CTO has to do three specific things that he has to worry about on a day-to-day basis. If you're building the best team in the world, you have to worry about retaining the best talent and hiring the best talent. Right? That's one. So that is, I don't think so. There is a way around it. Either you're worried about keeping that person, or you're worried about hiring the best person. So that is, I think, going to be a continuous challenge. In how do you sort of make sure that you get the right talent. But there are different, and so that also sort of pushes you to be a little bit more innovative around where you can get those talents. Are there ways to sort of invest now, scale up a few other people by the time you need it? So those things are now coming up, because good talent in the market is definitely hard to come right now. So I think that's definitely a big challenge today.
Sure, Manish, Rupa, I think, you're in the hot seat now to really answer this, because you deal with this day in and day out, a lot of tech talent demand there, but do we have that in the market? How is India, so to speak, positioned when it comes to this?
Well, I think there is talent out there. It's about who wants to do what, right? At the end of the day, like I said, technologists want to create impact. What kind of impact do they want to create? Each one has a mind of his own, Shivani. It's not just about joining a specific company. They should be aligned towards whether they want to do, in that domain. Let's say today we have two gents from lending, from fintech side, and of course Grab does much more, but I relate to it more with fintech. But if you were to look at it, maybe I'm a technologist who does not want to do fintech. Maybe I want to do something within e-commerce. Maybe I want to do something within supply chain or edtech. Right? EdTech is the most, the more cooler, sexy one at the point of time. Or if you were to look at trading, right? Someone who wants to take that kind of risk. So it's not got to do with whether there is talent or there's no talent. There is talent. It's about aligning who wants to do what. That's the first, equation that one needs to solve for. The second is, I think one shift that has happened from the last 10 years, right, to now is everyone wants to be hands-on. Everyone wants hands-on leaders. Nobody wants someone to come and manage a team size of like 150 and say, hey, I'm not close to technology. You go solve it for yourself. We want leaders who can come and show the way, right? That becomes the most important piece. But I've seen that actually that era has shifted. Now people are more hands-on. They're being more agile. They're learning new tech stacks. So it isn't like, technologists don't understand this closely. So that's another piece that has been covered. The more important piece is, where do we look for this talent? And let me tell you honestly, coming from what we do on a daily basis, there is no secret database that we hold. It's right out there. It's about how we actually go and have that special connect with people to understand what do they really want to do, and then putting them, aligning them where they would like to be at. I think that requires a lot of investment of time and energy. If as leaders, if all of us are able to do that, which becomes a little bit of a concerning area, because we have so much to do on our plate, especially with startups. It's so dynamic. I'm sure Manish and Anshu go through this day in and day out, that you have so many things that are coming towards you. You're not sure which ones to fix first, right? And hiring becomes a P2 or a P3 at one point of time. And that's when you actually lose focus. You're not able to hire your leaders, right? So I think because of these P2 and P3s is why Purple Quarter exists today, right? That's the reason why we are able to go ahead and do that on behalf of companies and spend that amount of time and get you the right leaders who be aligned with the company. But if you were to ask me, is there no talent? There's a huge dearth of talent. But I'd like to share that at this point of time, with so much happening around technology, it has become super important for us to also focus on, can we afford this talent as well? So that's becoming another point of concern. So I think together as one entire ecosystem, we need to solve for it. It can't be done in isolation. That's my view.
Sure, Rupa, I think, we've sort of discussed everything around the whole digital transformation and changing role of CTOs. It is challenging. It is exciting at the same time. As Manish said, you need to do something more innovative. And at the end of the day, it's about the drive that people and, techies out there have to create impact through technology. So it is indeed exciting, but challenging times ahead. But everyone's got their work cut out for them. So thank you so much, Rupa and Anshu, Manish, for joining us on this candid conversation and sharing your journeys and insights with us. To all our viewers, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe.